It's the pillar that governs the others. Capacity builds reserve, safety protects it, consistency maintains it, longevity directs it. Welcome to the Happy Manner Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. J, a physical therapist who spent years working in home health, walking into hundreds of homes, and helping people recover after falls, surgeries, and sudden health changes. Over time, I began noticing something that most people do not recognize soon enough. Independence rarely disappears all at once. It fades, it narrows quietly, and by the time someone calls for help, the erosion has often been happening for years. This podcast is about preventing that erosion. Not with trends, not with extreme workouts, not with fear-based messaging, but with principles. Clear, structured principles that protect independence at home. Over time, this show will work alongside my weekly newsletter and an expanding resource library designed to help you build strength for real life. Everything centers around one framework, the Happy Manner Method. It's built on the 4 pillars of independence: capacity, safety, consistency, and longevity. If even one pillar weakens, independence begins to narrow. And the first pillar, the foundation beneath all the others, is capacity. Because before you can protect independence, you have to build the physical ability to sustain it. And that is where we begin. Pillar 1, capacity. Capacity is your physical reserve. And reserve is not a vague or abstract idea. Reserve is the gap between what your life demands and what your body can produce. Or even simpler, reserve is how much strength and stability you have left after doing what your day requires. That gap determines almost everything about long-term independence. If walking through your house requires 20% of your available strength and balance, you have reserve. If walking through your house requires 80% of your available strength and balance, you're operating close to your ceiling. Both people can walk independently, only one has buffer. And independence lives inside that buffer. Let me make this practical. Imagine 2 individuals who are the same age. Both live independently. Both walk without assistance. Both report feeling pretty good. But one strength trains twice per week, practices getting on and off the floor, and occasionally challenges balance intentionally. The other walks casually a few times per week, but avoids getting on the floor and avoids movements that feel unstable. On the surface, they look similar. Physiologically, they are very different. The first person has reserve, and the second person is functioning, but very close to their limit. Reserve is what allows you to recover from mistakes, because life is not controlled. You get distracted. You misjudge a curb. You turn quickly when someone calls your name. You get sick for a week. You sleep poorly. You carry something heavier than expected. When reserve is present, those events are absorbed. When reserve is absent, those events expose vulnerability. There's also a biological reality we cannot ignore. After age 40, muscle mass gradually declines. After age 50, power declines faster than strength. Reaction time slows. Balance reflexes become less automatic. Power, the ability to produce force quickly, matters more than people realize. It's not enough to be strong slowly. You must be able to generate force quickly enough to catch yourself. That rapid response is reserve in action. Reserve does not disappear suddenly. It shrinks quietly. You stop sitting on the floor. You choose chairs that are slightly higher. You use your hands more when standing. You move more carefully. You avoid uneven terrain. These adjustments feel reasonable. They feel adaptive. But over time, they reduce demand on the system. And when demand decreases, capacity follows. The body adapts downward just as efficiently as it adapts upward, maybe even easier. If you do not ask your muscles for strength, they reduce it. If you do not challenge your balance, it narrows. If you do not practice transitions, you lose fluidity. Aging does not remove independence first. It removes reserve first. Independence is usually lost when reserve reaches zero. This is why walking alone is rarely enough. Walking maintains a certain level of function, but walking at a comfortable pace rarely builds buffer. Comfort does not build reserve. Challenge builds reserve. Not extreme challenge, not reckless intensity, intentional challenge. Strength training that approaches muscular fatigue. Balance tasks that require attention. Practice getting to the floor and back up. Carrying real loads occasionally. Moving in different directions. These are inputs that signal the body to maintain and build capacity. Capacity is not about performance. It's about margin. You're not training for a competition. You're training for the unexpected moment, the misstep you did not plan for, the illness that temporarily weakens you, the decade ahead. Reserve is insurance, but just like financial insurance, it only exists if you build it. Capacity is how you build that insurance. And here's the tension. Even very strong people can lose independence if they ignore the next pillar, because strength without awareness can be reckless. That is where safety becomes essential. Pillar 2, safety. Safety is intelligent risk reduction. It's not fear. It's not fragility. It's awareness applied deliberately to everyday life. If capacity is your physical reserve, safety is how you protect that reserve from unnecessary loss. Safety asks practical questions that many people rarely consider until after something goes wrong. Where am I vulnerable? What environments challenge my balance? When am I most fatigued? What hazards exist in my home? These questions are not pessimistic. They are strategic. In home health, I've walked into hundreds of homes after someone has already fallen. And when you look closely, the environment often tells a story. Dim hallways, loose rugs, narrow pathways between furniture, bathrooms with nothing stable to hold, steps without railings, objects stored just slightly out of comfortable reach. None of these conditions guarantee a fall, but they increase exposure to risk. Small environmental details matter more than people realize. Lighting matters because the brain depends heavily on visual input to maintain balance. Clear walking paths matter because sudden obstacles force quick adjustments. Grab bars matter because bathrooms combine slippery surfaces, turning movements, and fatigue all at once. These adjustments are not signs of weakness. They are signs of an intelligent preparation. But there is an important limit to environmental safety. You cannot safety-proof weakness. You can install grab bars, you can improve lighting, you can remove trip hazards, but if the body does not have the strength to stand, the balance to recover, or the power to catch itself during a misstep, environmental changes alone cannot fully protect independence. Safety protects capacity. If capacity is your engine, safety is your steering. You need both. I have seen individuals with impressive strength fall because they underestimated terrain, rushed down uneven steps, or ignored fatigue late in the day. Strength gave them confidence, but confidence without awareness can become reckless. I have also seen individuals with moderate strength maintain independence for years because they paid attention. They slowed down on uneven ground. They used railings consistently. They avoided multitasking when walking. They respected fatigue rather than pushing through it. Awareness preserved what strength alone could not. Safety also includes intentional balance training. Balance is not just a passive ability that you either have or lose. It's a system that can be trained. When you challenge balance deliberately, standing on one leg, changing directions, practicing controlled shifts in weight, you're training your brain and body to react more efficiently. These reactions matter in the unpredicted moments that real life creates. Because most falls do not happen when someone is standing still. They happen during transitions, turning quickly, stepping onto uneven surfaces, reaching while moving, carrying something that shifts weight unexpectedly. Balance training prepares the nervous system to handle those moments. Safety also involves decision-making discipline. That means recognizing when conditions are unfavorable. Poor lighting, slippery surfaces, exhaustion, illness, or medication changes that affect balance. It means respecting those conditions rather than ignoring them. Strong people sometimes struggle with this. Strength can create a false sense of security, but the goal is not to prove what you can get away with today. The goal is to remain independent years from now. Strength without awareness can be reckless. Awareness without strength can be fragile. Together, capacity and safety create stability. Capacity gives you the physical ability to respond. Safety guides how and when the ability is used. One builds your margin, the other protects it. But here's the tension. You can build capacity and you can practice intelligent safety and still lose ground, because improvement without structure fades. Strength gained but not maintained declines. Habits practiced occasionally disappear. Awareness applied inconsistently weakens. Capacity and safety are not one-time achievements. They require repetition. And that brings us to the third pillar, the one that determines whether the first two last. Pillar 3, consistency. Consistency is systematic. It's not motivation. It's not intensity. It's not willpower. Consistency is repetition applied deliberately over time. If capacity builds your reserve and safety protects it, consistency is what maintains both. Without consistency, gains fade. Without consistency, awareness drifts. Without consistency, independence narrows quietly. The body adapts to repeated demand. This is a fundamental biological truth. Strength improves with repeated load. Balance improves with repeated challenge. Endurance improves with repeated effort. But the reverse is also true. Strength declines when load disappears. Balance narrows when challenge is removed. Endurance fades when effort becomes sporadic. Inconsistency erodes capacity faster than aging does. Most decline is not caused by catastrophic injury. It's caused by drift. Workouts become occasional. Walking becomes less intentional. Balance practice disappears. Getting on and off the floor stops happening altogether. Nothing dramatic occurs. There's no single moment that signals loss. There is simply less demand placed on the body over time, and the body responds accordingly. Consistency does not require extreme sessions. It requires protected structure. 10 sit-to-stands daily, 2 strength sessions weekly, regular walking that elevates efforts slightly above comfort, brief balance challenges layered into routine, small, repeated inputs that signal the body to maintain reserve. Intensity is optional. Consistency is not. There is a psychological component here that matters. Many people wait to feel motivated before they act, but motivation is unreliable. It fluctuates with mood, sleep, stress, weather, and emotion. If your system depends on motivation, it will collapse periodically, and each collapse creates regression. Consistency removes negotiation. When movement becomes scheduled rather than optional, it becomes stable. When strength work is tied to specific days rather than when I feel like it, it compounds. When balance practice is part of routine rather than an afterthought, it sticks. Consistency is boring, and that's why it works. There's no drama in repeating foundational movements week after week. There is no social media highlight in steady, moderate effort. But independence is not built through highlights. It's built through accumulation. Small actions, repeated calmly, become durable capacity. Another important truth: consistency protects against overcorrection. Many people oscillate between extremes. They do nothing for weeks, then attempt something intense, then become sore or discouraged, and then stop again. That cycle creates instability. It feels productive in short bursts, but results in long-term stagnation. Consistency smooths that volatility. It favors sustainable effort over episodic intensity. It favors durability over excitement. When movement becomes sporadic, confidence decreases. When confidence decreases, avoidance increases. When avoidance increases, capacity declines. When capacity declines, reserve shrinks. And when reserve shrinks, safety becomes fragile. The pillars are connected. Consistency is what keeps them connected. But even consistent effort can become misdirected without long-term lens. You can repeat behaviors faithfully that do not serve your future. You can train consistently, but without intention toward the decade ahead. Consistency answers the question, am I repeating this? But it does not answer the question, is this the right thing to repeat? That question belongs to the final pillar, longevity. But before we go into the last pillar, I'd like to take a second to share something special with you. If you or someone you care about is preparing for or recovering from a total knee replacement, I've created a structured recovery guide that walks through what actually matters during each phase. It's designed to help you rebuild strength safely, avoid common setbacks, and protect your long-term independence at home. You can find this at thehappymanner.com/TKR. I'll have it linked in the show notes. And on to pillar 4, longevity. Longevity is long-term thinking applied to daily decisions. It's the pillar that governs the others. Capacity builds reserve, safety protects it, consistency maintains it, longevity directs it. Longevity asks a simple but uncomfortable question. Will this decision support my independence 5 years from now? Most people make movement decisions based on today, how they feel, what is convenient, what is efficient, what's comfortable. Longevity stretches that timeline. It shifts your thinking from, can I do this, to, should I continue doing this? It moves you from short-term comfort to long-term durability. Your body adapts to whatever you repeatedly expose it to. If you repeatedly choose the most convenient option, your body adapts to convenience. If you repeatedly avoid getting on the floor, your body adapts away from that skill. If you repeatedly offload effort to machines, railings, or assistants, your body reduces its independent capacity. Longevity asks you to think forward, not in fear, but in responsibility. When you carry your own groceries, instead of defaulting to help, you're thinking long term. When you choose stairs intentionally rather than elevators every time, you're thinking long term. When you practice floor transfers, even though you do not need to today, you're thinking long term. These decisions may feel small in the moment, but they compound over years. Longevity reframes difficulty. Instead of asking, is this hard? It asks, is this protective? It does not require extreme training. It requires strategic exposure to manageable challenge over time. It favors durability over intensity and sustainability over drama. It also protects against impulsive extremes. Many people attempt dramatic changes that are unsustainable. They overtrain. They commit to unrealistic schedules. They pursue aggressive goals that disrupt consistency. Then they stop entirely. Longevity rejects that cycle. It favors steady structure over dramatic effort. It recognizes that the decade ahead matters more than the week ahead. There is also a psychological dimension to longevity. It requires accepting that independence is not guaranteed. It requires acknowledging that erosion is possible if left unattended. Not in a catastrophic way, not in a fear-driven way, in a grounded, mature way. Independence is built deliberately. If you ignore it, it narrows. If you nurture it, it stabilizes. Longevity prevents drift. It keeps capacity from being episodic. It keeps safety from becoming reactive. It keeps consistency from becoming directionless. It asks you to think beyond immediate outcomes, beyond this month, beyond this season, beyond this year. When you make decisions through the lens of longevity, small actions gain weight. 10 sit-to-stands are not just exercise, they are investment. Balance practice is not just training, it's preservation. Strength work is not aesthetic, it's insurance. Longevity shifts identity. You are not someone who exercises occasionally. You are someone who protects future independence, and that shift matters. Because independence is rarely lost in one dramatic moment. It is shaped quietly over time. Longevity ensures that the shaping is intentional. When capacity, safety, consistency, and longevity work together, independence becomes durable. Not perfect, not guaranteed, durable independence is the goal. Before we close, I want to remind you that everything shared here is for educational purposes only and is not individualized medical advice. Always consult your healthcare provider for guidance specific to your situation. If this episode was helpful, subscribe and share it with someone who values staying independent at home. Independence is built, not guaranteed.